All right, let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles in anyone's financial life, saving your first $100,000. It can seriously feel like an impossible mountain to climb, right? But what if I told you there's a clear, actionable roadmap to get there, and to get there way faster than you think? Let's dive in. You know this feeling. We've all been there. You're working your tail off, you're trying to do all the right things, but that six-figure savings goal, it just feels completely out of reach. But here's the good news. It's not a fantasy. The problem isn't your willpower. It's probably that you just haven't been given the right system to follow. You know, there's a reason this particular number is so iconic. The legendary Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime partner, famously said, the first 100 grand is the absolute toughest. And why is that? Well, because when you're starting out, you're doing all the heavy lifting yourself. Every single dollar has to come from your paycheck. But once you hit this milestone, something incredible happens. Your money starts working for you. And that, my friends, is when the real magic of compounding actually begins. Now, this is maybe the most important concept we're going to talk about today. Most people think the solution to their money problems is to just earn more, to pour more water into the bucket, right? But if your financial system has a bunch of holes in it, that extra money just leaks right out. The wealthy don't just earn more, they've built a bucket that doesn't leak. So today, we're going to build that bucket. Okay, so step one is all about plugging the biggest, sneakiest leaks that can drain your wealth without you even noticing. And I'm talking about two big ones: unnecessary taxes and hidden fees. Let's kick things off with tax optimization. Look, for most of us, taxes are one of our single biggest expenses, but the government actually gives you totally legal, legitimate ways to lower that bill. Using accounts like a traditional 401k means every dollar you put in actually lowers your taxable income for the year. So if you're in, say, the 22% tax bracket, it's like getting an instant 22% discount on building your future wealth. It's a no-brainer. And the second leak? Minimizing those sneaky investment fees. Think of these as a silent tax that compounds against you. Yeah, against you. A fund that charges a 1% fee versus one that charges like 0.1% might not sound like a huge deal, but that tiny, tiny difference can literally cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. The fix is actually super simple. Just choose low-cost, broad-market index funds. Okay, so the leaks are plugged. Now it's time to start pouring fuel on the fire. These next few strategies are all about actively accelerating your growth and getting that engine revving. And this next one, oh man, this is my absolute favorite. And you want to know why? Because it is, quite literally, free money. Yeah, I'm talking about the employer 401k match. Seriously, if you are not taking full advantage of this, you are basically telling your boss, no thanks, I don't want that raise. It is the closest thing you will ever find to a guaranteed winning lottery ticket. And this just shows you exactly why. Let's say your employer matches 50 cents for every dollar you contribute up to a certain point. If you put in $3,000, they just hand you an extra $1,500 for free, just for showing up. So let's be really clear about this. Where else are you going to find a guaranteed 50% return on your money, instantly with zero risk? The answer is nowhere. This is the easiest financial win you will ever get, period. All right, next up, let's talk about a big mindset shift. You know, traditional advice always tells you to live below your means, which basically means to shrink your life, right? To cut back. The Wealth Builder way is totally different. You don't shrink your means, you expand them. You create new income streams, a side hustle, some freelance work, and you dedicate 100% of that new cash to investing. That way, you grow your wealth without ever feeling deprived. Okay, now let's talk about the incredible power of reinvesting your dividends. When the companies you invest in pay you a little dividend, it's so tempting to just spend it. But the real power move is to reinvest it, to buy more shares, which then pay you even more dividends, which then buys you even more shares. You see where this is going? It's a wealth-building snowball just rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster all the time. And if you don't believe me, just look at the difference it makes. It's staggering. Over the last century, reinvesting those dividends took the S&P 500's average return from a decent 6.6% all the way up to an incredible 10.7%. That little 4% difference is the gap between a comfortable retirement and a really stressful one. So the big question is, where do we actually put all this money? Well, it's all about choosing the right investments. And listen, your goal isn't to get rich quick, it's to get rich for sure. The simplest, most effective way to do that is with broad market index funds. You're not trying to be a genius and pick the next big stock. You're just buying a tiny piece of 500 of the most successful companies in America and letting capitalism do all the heavy lifting for you. Okay, so we've got all the technical stuff down. But honestly, building wealth is just as much a psychological game. So these next two strategies are all about mastering the mental discipline you need to actually stay the course. Let's start with one of the biggest questions in investing. Can you time the market? I mean, the financial news makes it seem like that's what all the smart investors are doing, right? But the reality is, it's a fool's game. The data on this is just brutal. Trying to jump in and out of the market is a recipe for absolute failure. Just look at this. If you miss only the 10 best days in the market over a 30-year period, your returns get slashed by almost half. That's insane. The secret isn't timing the market, it's time in the market. You just have to be consistent and let it grow. And that brings us to maybe the most important mental battle of all, avoiding lifestyle inflation. This thing is the silent saboteur of wealth. You get a raise, so you get a nicer car. You get another raise, so you get a bigger apartment. And pretty soon, you're earning double what you used to, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck. The key is to automatically invest at least half of every single raise before you even have a chance to get used to it. And now, we have arrived at the #1 wealth accelerator. This is it. This is the single biggest lever you can pull to free up more money for investing than any other strategy, hands down. So for most people, housing is by far their biggest expense. I mean, it often eats up 40, even 50% of their income. And at that point, it is nearly impossible to save aggressively. You're basically just working to keep a roof over your head. So the #1 strategy is to aggressively optimize your housing costs. You gotta get creative for just a few years. Get a roommate, maybe move to a less expensive area, or even house hack by renting out part of your place. Because look what happens when you get that housing number below 30%. You suddenly free up this massive new slice of your budget that can go directly into your investments. This is how you supercharge your path to 100K. And here it is, all laid out together. This isn't just a random list of tips, you know? It's a powerful, interconnected system. Each one of these strategies actually amplifies the others. When you plug the leaks, fuel the engine, and win the mental game all at the same time, reaching that first $100,000 stops being a distant dream and it becomes an inevitable outcome. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Every single dollar you save and invest today, that's a gift to the person you are going to become. Your future self is counting on the decisions you're making right now. So the only question left is, what kind of gift are you going to give?